All right, everybody, welcome to the 394th edition of the Holy Backboard Podcast. I am Dustin here in Rip City.
Oh, and Sage here in Beaverton. Finally, the construction sounds have died down, so we're ready to record and talk about a college star. Dustin, who is this guy that we are going to spend the next few minutes talking about?
All right, we are talking about VJ Edgecombe, a 6'3" to 6'5" guard, depending on
What shape ups he's
publication
wearing?
which publication you're viewing. 180 pounds, shooting guard from Baylor. 19, almost 20 years old. Will be 20 on July 30th of this year. Um, Currently averaging 14.8 points in 32 minutes of action, shooting 44% of the field, 36.5% from three on 4.5 attempts per night, 80% at the line on nearly four attempts, 5.2 boards, 3.4 assists, two turnovers, but two steals, zero point 0.7 blocks. And he has a player efficiency rating of 22. The Baylor Bears currently are not ranked. I believe they are 16 and 11.
I think
Uh,
they're like ranked 35th in terms of like Bartorvik stats. So, I mean, they're a tourney team for
yeah,
sure.
they are not in the top 25.
And dude, did you see their early schedule? Like it was brutal. Gonzaga, Arkansas. This is a
But
really
Gonzaga was
difficult
not even good this year.
game. One Gonzaga was good though. Like they were sixth and Baylor was eight. So the schedule that they played was really rough and it's a new team. I know it's a veteran team, but it's a new team because I think all of their starters are brand new. Like they had Jeremy Roach, they had VJ, they had a lot of new guys. So it took a little while to get good. Um, do you want to start offensively or defensively? I think we might want to go offense first because the defense can be spectacular. The offense is a little rough.
But yeah, start us off offensively.
I think that he is a absolute terrifying player in transition. His ability to run and jump and just blam it on people is really second to none in this class. You at least see one play that's like Shaden Sharp level. Oh my God. When he's in transition or when he's cleaning up the boards, he is a really good rebounder in that like tip dunk level, kind of like a Shaden Sharp. But what makes me nervous about him, and it's been the thing from high school where he was getting, double teamed by Cooper Flag and Asa Newell, or, even in Baylor, his half court game is kind of limited because he speeds himself up too much. The start of the year, I thought he was just a dunker because the non-conference schedule was really tough. And as the year went by, he was starting to make stuff and he was starting to shoot better. And it was just because he himself slowed down. He was just rushing and then making bad mistakes. When he puts his head down, it's gonna be a bad mistake. But when he is able to calm down, make a play, use his athleticism on offense, he can be pretty damn scary. It's just the consistency of rushing versus chilling out is kind of scary. So you have this moldable athlete that is really special. It's just he in his mind is just sped up so much. Like if I look at a shot release from him, I will be able to know if it's going to be a good quality attempt versus an absolute atrocious attempt. It's just because of the speed that he shoots at and runs at is so fast, but he and his body aren't ready to take that shot or make that pass. So when you watch him, those highlights look awesome, but there's a lot of lowlights, and it's only because he's getting sped up, whether it be by a contest or himself. He's making mistakes because he sped himself up. at such a fast clip that nobody can really move at that pace, but he tries to, and it results in so many misses and so many like runoff turnovers that there's it's the highlights and the lowlights for him. But if he could play within himself, he's a really, really skilled offensive player. Like I was looking at it and I was thinking like I was pegging him at Gary Payton or I was pegging him at Bruce Brown, but he's much better offensively. It's just the him speeding himself up is keeping him from being like the real high level offensive player.
I think the first thing that popped out to me was like he looks really small
Oh yeah,
and
he's a small boy.
not just in height but in stature. He's very lean, so I think he needs obviously some strength to fill
Oh
out.
good, yeah.
He looks really young, just really young, like in the
Mhm.
face. Like reminds me of like Jabari Walker, looked like a child when we
Mhm.
drafted him, and now he's kind of starting to mature and fill out. So it gives me, optimism that he is going to grow into his frame. The biggest thing for me, I think, is what he's going to measure at. Because if
Oh
he's
yeah.
6'3", then you have to find a different type of point guard or other backcourt running mate that is obviously taller. It's hard to win in a league where I think I was watching the Rockets game the other day, and they had like Amen and Jalen Green and Shangoon and Jabari Smith and Dylan Brooks, and everyone was at least like 6'7" on the floor. Like
Mhm.
I think in today's NBA, like the smaller you are, the harder it's going to be. Like we're just seeing an evolution of NBA athlete where it's bigger, stronger, faster. So while I love a lot of things that he does, like what would really excite me is if he's like 6'5". What would
Oh god,
really give me a lot of pause if he was like 6'3", because like and I know like it feels minuscule to discuss, but like I really do think if he was like a 6'7" or 6'8" guard
he could be
with
number one.
everything that he has, I
Hmm.
think he will give Cooper Flag a run for that number one spot, just because you don't see those type of guards that big who move as gracefully as he does through the paint. He's very coordinated, very fluid. Um, Reminds me when we were watching Shaden in high school, just looked like a natural athlete, looked very comfortable out there, making it easy. I think he would thrive playing off the ball and then growing into those on-ball reps, maybe in year 3 or year 4. Like I think people drafting him expecting him to be Dwayne Wade from the jump are going to be
No. Mm-mm.
disappointed. Like I think that comp gets thrown out a little too.
Are they saying he's D Wade?
Everyone is.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So
So here's the thing, you get a somewhat smaller, bouncy guard who moves like that, who has powerful finishes, and everyone automatically goes to the optimal comparison, which is Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade one came out after his junior year. He also led Marquette to a Final Four where he posted like triple doubles. Um, and Dwayne Wade also had the mental side of the game on lock, which is just as equally as important. I have no idea about VJ. We won't know until he actually plays in the league and has a couple of years under his belt. But I think for VJ, coming off the ball, maybe running those like Reggie Miller, Rip Hamilton curls to get him going downhill in motion, that's going to be beneficial for him. So playing alongside the right point guard who is going to know his spots, going to set him up, playing alongside other, good rebounders who can get him out in transition and outlet the ball where his game really shines. I think the best thing for him to do is to constantly stay in motion. It's
mm,
really hard to score, especially early on as a rookie when you're in isolation, you're stopped, and you have to make something happen. That is a skill that not a lot of people have. And I think his strength right now is in motion, downhill, using that athleticism, whether it's drawing a foul, finishing at the rim. But that's where I would like to see him on offense.
the D Wade comp is so weird to me because he can't dribble to save his fucking life. Like he's one of the worst guard dribblers. Like you know how I talked about Jared McCain, how I'm worried about how pressure is gonna make him make mistakes. I can't even put him in Jared McCain's lane because he's such a bad dribbler. Like he's Gary Payton level dribbling. So the development curve
The
that he has.
glove?
What?
The
Gary Payton
glove? Okay, I'm like, you got to specify that
no,
one.
Gary, the one that we watched in at
Mittens.
yeah, mittens. Like he's Gary Payton level bad at dribbling, bro. Like there is some you have to rebuild his bag because it's bagless. Like he's having trouble in high school dribbling. He's having trouble in college dribbling. He is not a he the development curve that he would hit to be an average handler in this league would be like one of the best development successes that the future team that he's on gets to brag about because he's really, really bad at handling. And then the bad handle and then the rush process leads to some really shitty turnovers because of the passing. Some are great, some are just like, whoa, magnificent, but he can't. I'm putting him at the two. So you need to have a Cade Cunningham. You need to have a LaMelo Ball. Like I'm looking at the potential teams. Like he can't be on a team that is expecting him to be a lead guard at any point in time because that development curve, I don't think it's happening. He has to be the shooting guard. So it means that the team construct has to be different than, if he was 6'6" or 6'5". Like I don't think he is going to be a 6'4" plus height guy. I think he's probably going to be 6'2", 6'3". So it needs to be the team construct around him that's going to be difficult to find. So it's got to be tall point guard like a Tyrese Halliburton, Cade Cunningham, one of those tall guys. It can't be. I'm just looking at the if he's 6'2", he can't play with Scoot. If he's 6'2", Emmanuel quickly doesn't work. Like it really is a
De'Aaron
big thing
Fox
about
doesn't work.
De'Aaron Fox does not work. And I think Steph Castle might be a little upset about the Spurs thinking of VJ Edgecombe. Like if he was 6'7", he might be the number one guy. It's just being that athletic, that skilled in certain aspects at 6'2" is a lot harder to fit at than 6'7".
There's another 6'7" player that didn't have the best handle, but was a top 50 player of all time. That's Clyde Drexler. Only went right, but
But
he was
that
so
was
athletic.
1980s. That was 1980s and 90s. The game's done changed. There's different
I mean,
defensive.
he's still that's what I'm saying. You have 5 inches and plus wingspan, like you're able to get through, over, around, like playing through contact. Like that's where the extra size matters, right? You don't have to, ISO and break somebody off. You can do what Giannis does and just 1-2 step, he's there because he's fucking long as hell.
Yeah, and
But being 6'2" means you have to dribble like CJ
and
to get to your spot.
man, there was a game versus Mount Bird, and it was his uh EYBL team, which had like 4 stars that also needed somebody to spoon feed. Cooper Flag just put him in the torture chamber for an entire game. I think it was like a 30, 40 point Mountain Bird victory. And dog, he's gonna see those type of people. Like if I'm on the coaching staff that gets him, I'm getting professor. I'm getting one of those dribble guys to teach him how to dribble in any way because it's really easy to see where he wants to go. But again, if he's lucky and has that point guard that's tall and can, like a Cade Cunningham, I think, putting him in situations where he can succeed, one cut to the basket, dunking, he if he's slow and mentally there, he's hitting threes on hard contests. It's just that speed, like it's the mental thing about him. Like physically, he has every gift imaginable except height, but like he has all of these gifts. He just needs to slow down and focus up.
What do you think about his jump shot?
I don't care about my favorite shooters are Desmond Bain and AJ Griffin. Form doesn't really matter to me. It matters about going in. So I think for real, I think it's just him being patient is more so the deal than his form. Like I see him hit hard content. Like there was a game I think against like, oh God, it was some might have been like Utah or something where I was watching. He hit like a really tough three with him closing out in front of him, and he made it. I think it really is about the pacing with him, and if he's feeling confident and going slow, I think he's gonna hit like 36% on three. But if he rushes, he's going to hit like 26.
Yeah, I think the form looks fine. Not too worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I liked AJ Griffin and he put the ball in his hand like in front of his face for a good like half a second every
He
shot he
also
took.
moved like molasses.
Yeah. Again, dog, Duke players that have knee injuries, I fuck with them. Uh, but I think defense is a place where he can be an absolute menace. He's I think he's one of the best shot blocking guards, and I think that might be the D Wade thing, why people like him. But he's one of the best shot blocking guards in the national NCAA, and I see him being put in some positions defensively that you would imagine like a small forward, power forward would do, like in drop coverage. Like he is totally willing to use that athleticism to make defensive playmaking plays. Like he'll block shots, he'll grab rebounds, he'll do all that stuff. He's really aggressive in attacking passing lanes, attacking dribblers that, where he's in help defense. He'll attack that and grab the ball. Like the defensive playmaking, like it puts him in again in Gary Payton the second, it puts him in Bruce Brown territory on the defensive end. And he's only 6'2", being one of the best shot blocking guards, you know, in the national basketball. Like so his all of those gifts that he has athletically, he translates into playing defense at a high level. Like he was at a point where he was like an elite stealer and an elite shot blocker. The steals have regressed down, but he is one of the best help defenders in the conference. He can play man up. Though I really could see him as a guy that you put on the best guard offensive player and he can negate him at a pretty damn high level. It's just, he's not perfect, but he has the recovering speed, kind of like Shaden Sharp does and did, where he can make a mistake and be aggressive and then be able to get the chase down block or be able to chase him down and be able to make a defensive play and change the opposing player's shot. I think defense is where he shines. But if you can just slow it up, I think he could be a complete two-way player. It's just you're talking about a complete two-way player in a 6'2", 6'3" person's body, most likely. But the defense is absolutely sexy.
So who does he comp out to you?
Okay, so for me, so if he develops no guard skills, it kind of puts him in a weird position because the guys that he would comp out to would be like 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" guys. But like I think he could be like a Gary Harris if he doesn't get any guard skills. But if he does, we're talking about Jalen Suggs, and I think he could comp out to Marcus Smart with insane bounce. Like that's how good I think he could be defensively is Marcus Smart level of defense. So he has, and like I know that people could see the like he comps out really well to Donovan Mitchell or James Harden when they were in college with their numbers, but I just don't see them being. I don't see him in any context in any world being able to be the playmaker that Donovan or James or Dwayne Wade were because of the handle. I think that might be the biggest issue with him is the handles and playmaking. Is it's just not it's not up to par to these elites playmaking twos. You know what I mean? So I feel good with the Marcus Smart plus like extreme bounce comp. What about you?
I mean, if he gets the handle and develops, you're looking maybe at like a Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown was
Super short.
super rough around the edges offensively. He was a major athlete, but like had all the tools, but he put it together and he's a damn good player. I think more likely you're going to get a Victor Oladipo type of player.
Yeah, I like the Victor Oladipo
I
comp.
loved Oladipo coming out of Indiana. He was the number two overall pick. He was a one-time All-Star. I think injuries kind of derailed him a bit, but I think he kind of peaked at like, maybe a two-time All-Star type of
But
guy.
Vic had playmaking. I felt like he had playmaking at Indiana. He was able to run offense.
He's also a sophomore, so he
Yeah.
did play an extra year. I think like floor, you're looking at a player like Isaac Okoro, who's just there for the defense and athleticism,
Hmm.
right? Fringe starter, maybe high end level off the bench. I think given his motor, he's a fairly safe prospect, but his ability to create for himself and how he measures out will determine when we look back 5, 10 years from now.
Hmm.
Should he have gone one? Was he drafted just right? Or like Oladipo, should he have maybe slid down a little bit further?
Yeah, and it's tough because small guard, it's so tough to be a good small guard in this league when you're dealing with, like in the draft class, Cooper Flag's gonna eat that up if he doesn't develop any moves, or any of the Rockets guys. Like, everybody's getting more versatile, bigger and stronger and faster. And if VJ can't create separation from himself, like, he's just gonna be a guy that attacks the rim and like, will score against, it's kind of a luck game where it's like he's jumping over a guy and it's inefficient and you shouldn't bet on it. But I think if he gets the playmaking straight, you're looking at a guy who could be a few-time all-star. It's just, you need the development staff for guards. And he's not going to come in as a ready finished product unless you just want defense and occasional average shooting. You have to develop that stuff slowly and safely. So as much as I like him, I don't think the Portland Trailblazers is a good spot for him unless he measures out much bigger than he looks on film. Do you think so? Do you think the fit's good with Scoot, Shaden, Klingon?
I mean, I don't. I think if you draft him, you're probably unfortunately packing Shaden's bags, which I would not like, but I think that's again,
I think Shaden's far better than what.
I think so as well. Like again, if you're lucking out and drafting in the top four, you can't keep these guys on the bench continuously. Um, yeah, I don't love I love and hate the fit with Scoot, right? I think Scoot would know how to work with him offensively and get
Offensively would be beautiful,
into
yeah.
his spots. Defensively, though, like Tumani is a monster.
Scoot can
JG
be a monster too.
JG is actually solid defensively. Obviously, you got Rob and Klingon who were fantastic. You got size at the forwards. It wouldn't be as devastating as it was with Dame and CJ, and you had nothing behind them. It wouldn't be ideal, but I'm also best prospect available. So if he's there, like get him. Like don't just magically wish he was 3 inches taller and draft a lesser prospect. I'm always of the mind of take it and make it work. Whether that's a Tyrese Halliburton, De'Aaron Fox situation where you trade Tyrese because he's so good, but you get Sabonis out of it, right? Like you want the best asset. Like you're most of the time when you're drafting in the lottery, you're not gonna find a player just tailor-made in the position of need that fits like a glove. More times than not, you just got to take the best player, and if it means ruffling a couple feathers, moving, someone out of the lineup who was already in there because this guy's better, and then moving that player whatever it may be, you just kind of have to get talent. And when you're one of the worst teams in the league, you just need to be on a talent accrual mode for a while. Like that's just kind of how it has to be. And like, you're in positionless basketball at an extent. Length is a premium, but I do like his versatility,
His
uh,
athleticism is going to make up for a lot too.
athleticism. Yep.
Where
So
where do you have him currently in your? I assume he has to be top five.
three,
So it's Coop Dylan or Coop Ace,
Cooper by a long shot, Dylan second tier all by himself, and then VJ and Ace kind of close by.
and then Yakonis is in a tier below. Okay, I
I,
feel
I
you.
don't really I don't really like Casper's. That's more.
I fuck with him. I fuck with him because I think he's a secondary playmaker. But we
I don't
might
I
talk
don't
about him in the future. I don't know. He
I
might be
just
too.
haven't been impressed. A lot for a playmaker, a lot of turnovers.
Oh, he is fucking letting that shit rip. He's got such a high turnover rate. Oh,
Yeah.
one last thing about VJ. Do you think it's weird that he has such a bad free throw rate for being such an athletic freak? He's like a mid-tier free throw rate guy. I would imagine that he gets the line like 7, 8 times a game.
It's different. College rules are different. There's a lot less spacing in college too. There's just not
especially
many.
that Baylor team.
There's not really, they don't call, like, you watch a college game, they're not shooting a ton of free throws, which I enjoy, but like the paint's a little more packed. Um,
Do you think that he'll have a pretty decent free throw rate in the NBA with the right point guard?
Not off the bat, because if he's just not going to, like, to be a high free throw guy, you have to have the ball in your hands. You got to create and you got to go to the paint,
Yeah.
right? Like, so that means you're top dog on an NBA roster. I
No.
even look
Yeah.
but you have to know how to get contact. Like, you look at Anthony Simons versus Denny Abdia, probably two of the three most, I think, I don't even know what you want to call the position. Solo isolations, it's double negative. Isolations, ball handling possessions, whatever you want to call it. Those two have the ball in their hands quite a bit, and they're looking to drive. Anthony is more adapt to finish away from contact.
And Denny
Denny
and
is seeking out
loves
the
it.
contact.
Yeah.
So one's getting the free throw, one's not getting the free. It just depends on. I think early in his career, VJ is probably going to have to get downhill, but he's gonna have to get stronger to play through that contact. I mean, look, even Scoot, as big as he was, he got to the line a good chunk, um, but he also wasn't able to finish either. So if once the defenders read the scouting report, he was kind of, SOL for a while in his rookie year. Um, it just takes time. Like, it takes time to figure out. You got to earn the whistle. I mean, that's kind of like what they say. Like, the players over a body of work will start to get the benefit of the doubt from the officials. You look at a guy like Tumani Kamara, like, he's done it for 2 years now, and like, the officials know he's a good defender. So if they see him in position, they're probably going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But like, a rookie VJ, undersized, you know, maybe 200 pounds soaking wet, however they, he's very
Dude,
lean.
I want them to peer pressure him to be in the dunk contest, bro.
Like, he's going to get knocked off his spots a lot, and they are being better with calling verticality. So like, I don't think he's going to get those tic tac fouls. He's just going to have to get stronger.
He
He
yeah,
has, he has the mentality, though. He finishes with ferocity
dog,
around the
we could
rim.
have like a fucking 2 or 3 minute clip of him just absolutely destroying defenders that are trying to like build the wall against him. Like I don't know if I talked about it, but my man could dunk the damn ball. Like he is going to be a great finisher in the league. But again, it's the other issues that he has. But I mean, he's out of the two people that we've talked about, he is far and away a much better prospect than Asa. And yeah, I think he's top five. And if he doesn't become top five, something weird has happened in the draft. Like he's one of the more impressive players in this draft. Is there anything you want to talk about with VJ Edgecombe, or do we want to wrap this bad boy up?
Let's wrap it up.
All right. We are available everywhere you get your podcast. We are also on TikTok and Insta. Um, let's have a on-air meeting. Who are you thinking for the third uh Future Friday?
Ooh, maybe Dylan Harper.
Oh my, he shares the same name as me. I like him.
His Rutgers will not be playing March basketball.
No, they will not. No, they will not. Not at all. I like him. I like Dylan Harper quite a bit, but that team is booty butt cheeks. So all right. Thank you for everybody for listening. We will be back next Wednesday, and then we will do another Future Friday. And hey, I don't have to watch 10 games in 2 nights to talk about a player. So I like that. Shout out to Dylan Harper, shout out to VJ, shout out to you. And thank you so much for listening. We're out of here. Peace.